if someone is going to get you, then there's nothing you can do about it except sort of go under an anonymous name, at all times, or whatever, you know. Um, but anyway, as I say, I was talking to Tanya today, just about different traumatic things, and she noticed across here that there was my moustache, part of my beard, sort of covers up here, but there's a scar right across my face and under my ear, and another one just under there. And when I was 19 or whatever, I was coming back from the Botanic Inn with some of my buddies, um, and we decided that we were going to go into. We got the bus along the Ormer Road, and we decided we were going to go into the Rosetta for last orders. And so we all got off the bus. They went on in. I can't remember exactly what it was. Why I was kind of lingering behind, but there were a bunch of guys, 4 or 5 guys, and that one of them went over and started kicking, the co-op window, for some reason, trying to smash it. And then I went, well, work away there, big lad. But that sense of dread hadn't kicked in, yet at that stage. So they walked past me anyway, and then, but one of my friends, um, Bruno's brother Alan, he was being hit by them, and I looked across the road from the across the St Andrew's Church, and it was all happening there, and the guy was like this shit was being beat out of him, and Big Al, he wouldn't have harmed a fly, Um, so I ran over anyway, and pulled him out and hit a couple of them, and got him. But little did I know that there were like another 12 of this company, going down Cooning Way. So they heard the fracas, ran up, and this guy stood in front of me and went, "So you think you're the man in the big picture, sort of thing?" And I went, "No, I don't. But that guy there is outnumbered, and I know that he would never have done it." And he didn't even give me a chance to speak. He punched me, right across my face. And then this older guy held me back and said, "Do it," and another punch across the face. Well, I was okay. They all split then, and I was going two digs, and I didn't even feel any pain or anything, obviously it felt like this thud sort of thing. And then I was saying, "All you okay?" "Yes, I'm fine." Okay. And then all the other ones came out of the bar and saw what was happening. Ted, Biggie, everybody flew over. Joe Gray will tell you about this as well. Um, and then the police came along. So we wondered why the police had come along so quickly, because it was like nearly instantaneously, and there was no way that someone looked out of their blinds and saw a fracas. So something had obviously been happening somewhere else, and then the police were there, and they came up because they recognised that there was a commotion going on just up the road a wee bit. So this policeman came out, and he said, "You okay? You okay, son?" And I said, "I think so. I was protecting my mate. I got a couple of digs in, whatever. But the rest of them have all scarpered, But and he went, and he looked at me, and he went, 'Son, we're not even going to wait for the ambulance. Get into the Land Rover now.'" And I went, "Why?" And he went, "You're open, right across there and right across there." Um, And I went, "But he didn't hit me that hard." He says he's obviously used a knife. And what the guy had done was he had punched me, but he had a Stanley knife coming out of the back of his hand. So whenever he punched me, he dragged the knife, across my face twice. So it wasn't the punches that had actually done the damage. It was the Stanley knife that he was. So I was like, this was gaping open and this was gaping open, and they brought me into the hospital, brought into the surgery. Out I went. You know, all this stuff happening, and they put 18 stitches inside and 36 stitches outside in one, and so many stitches inside. And they said that I was really lucky because whatever had happened, it had went across there. It could have wiped my all you lovely girls would not have been able to experience a nice passionate kiss because you could have wiped out my lips. It just happened to be right across the bottom of my nose and right across my neck, but on this side. And then the cops, the police came afterwards whenever I was in the hospital bed, and they were saying, can you describe any of them? Well, I'm not a tout, so I wasn't, and I didn't know any of them. I had never seen any of them before in my life, and they were like real strangers to the Rosetta. Never. So they said it's really important to get this guy, and I was going that why? They said because your incident, the thing that happened to you, wasn't the only incident in that chain of events. So I don't know if you remember the boxer Michael Close. He had a brother called Gary. Gary was a great guy. He was slightly younger than me, but went to school. Went to school with me, and from where we were at the Rosetta to the more or less where the sea fry is, it's like about 150 yards anyway. Gary had unfortunately bumped into these guys, and they were starting trouble so that you would react, and then they would do what they did. They sliced his throat. They sliced Gary's throat. Like to the point where he couldn't talk. His windpipe and everything. And I'm going, and I think I'm bad. With this and this, and the cop says that's why you're lucky. Because they have done this. Like, and I often sort of say to myself, because I'm not sure if Michael Close went on to be a very successful boxer, and represented Northern Ireland brilliantly as an athlete. But his brother Gary, he was a really lovely guy, and he didn't deserve, to be just in the wrong place at the wrong time, But if it had been the other way around and I was Gary and he was me and that was done, then I wouldn't have been able to ever sing. And a lot of people out there are going now, would that have been a bad thing? But the thing about it is, so I'm going to spread this out. I'm going to get to the end of it, and by the end of it, then you'll know why I've veered off what I was going to talk about earlier. So just after this all happened, then my dad was out. My father, Big Jackie, was out every night with a baseball bat, walking around the streets looking for the guy that did this to me. So I didn't. I obviously had never seen the guy before, and the cops were at my door every day, going, do you know who it was? And I'm going, no, I don't know who it was. So then a good friend of mine, shall remain nameless, told me that this guy who did this to me was running about the area that he actually lived in, boasting about it, and that he was going out with a girl from my estate, and she was expecting his child, and that if I went along and seen her, she would tell me because he's abandoned her. She won't come to me, but I can go to her. So I went along